What is up, guys? We got a UFC fight for the first time here in 2 weeks. We got a women's main event. We got a card to break down. We got best bets. Why don't you guys stay tuned? You are not going to want to miss this episode.
That is a which is fun, but you got to be ready for that. But it's not.
And welcome back to another episode of Fist First. As always, I am your host, Steve, and we are streaming here on DSM Media's YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Guys, please do not forget to hit that like, subscribe, or follow button underneath you. And today I am running solo for this Mackenzie Dern versus Jan card preview. But as always, we are going to start here with some UFC news. And first and foremost, Paddy Pimblett comes out and says that he would not be shocked if the UFC made him headline a UFC fight night, probably a pay-per-view, against Conor McGregor in Conor McGregor's return to the UFC. When I saw this, I'm like, there's no chance that Paddy the Baddy is going to get Conor McGregor in Conor's return. I think this is a little bit of a stretch, guys. You can call me a hater, you can call me whatever, but I think Paddy Pimblett, as of now, is a little bit overrated. It, I, he just has some technical flaws for me. I'm not saying he can't improve, but right now, I don't think this is a fight that he really deserves. I don't really think this is a fight that he's going to get anyway. But nevertheless, Paddy Pimblett does come out and say that. But I think that's kind of just like I don't know, just to get a little bit of buzz around his name. But another interesting, actually, two interesting fights had come about recently. Neither of these are confirmed, obviously, because they are taking place with one guy in two different weight classes. And that one guy is Khamzat Chimaev, right? We've talked about him over and over again, many weeks. We keep bringing up his name, with the missed weight. What is he going to do next? Is he going to stay at 170 in that welterweight division where he's been struggling to make weight? Or is he going to finally make that move up to 185 into that middleweight division? Guys, I don't know, because a couple days ago, Khamzat Chimaev tweets out 185. That's all he says, 185. So I'm like, okay, makes sense. This guy's moving up to middleweight. It's finally going to happen. This is something that needs to happen. The UFC should probably make this happen, considering the 7.5-pound missed weight. But then today, or maybe it was yesterday, he says his next tweet goes, Colby. Well, that's weird because Colby's in the welterweight division. So what is Chimaev doing here? What is he planning? Because his tweets just don't really make any sense. But with that being said, I want to start here. If Chimaev moves up to 185, if he moves into that middleweight division, who are we gonna see him verse? Last week we had said Paulo Costa. They got some beef. They got to settle it. It's a fight to make. But as a right now on the fence with Chimaev, I want to see him get tested, right? Because I don't really know where I stand with him anymore. So I want to see Chimaev get tested to help me make this decision on, do I like this guy? So for me, what would be interesting here, if he does move up to 185, what about Robert Whittaker? Now, Chimaev had come out and said that, he doesn't really want to fight Whittaker. He'd rather train with him. I think he's a little bit scared of Whittaker. And I think he has every right to be. I think Rob Whittaker is probably Chimaev's worst nightmare. I think that's a matchup that Chimaev doesn't really have the edge over. And I think that you are going to see Rob the Reaper claim Chimaev's soul if that does happen. I'm not sure if that's going to happen. Obviously, Whittaker is ranked very high, and this is Chimaev's first fight. This will be Chimaev's first fight back to middleweight. So the Costa fight is more likely, but Whitaker and Chimaev has been thrown out there. Now to move on with the possibility of Chimaev versus Colby, I I don't really get this one, right? And that's because I don't believe that Chimaev can make it down to 170 successfully, right? So Colby versus Chimaev, probably not going to happen. Chimaev said he wants him. You got to make weight, buddy, if you want him. I don't think it's going to happen. But that would be an interesting fight, too. I think I would give Chimaev the edge there. I am a Colby Covington fan, but I think Chimaev would have the edge in that fight. And I think it's for the betterment of himself. I think it's for the betterment of the fans of the UFC, for Chimaev just to make that move to middleweight. Now, speaking about middleweight division here, Dana White Contender Series, the final episode just aired last night. The return of Bo Nickel. For those of you who don't know Bo Nickel, he was on the Dana White Contender Series before. He makes his reappearance. And this dude is an issue. He gets his UFC contract. He calls out Chimaev. He's in that middleweight division. For those of you who don't really know Bo Nickel's skill set, he is predominantly a wrestler, so he would match up with Chimaev well. But not only is he a submission expert or wrestling expert, if you will, he's got some power. So let me bring up this video for you guys. This actually took place last night on the Dana White Contender Series. Let me add this here. So I got two videos for you guys. This one is just to show you Bo Nickel's raw power.
Oh my God! Mission in 62 seconds, or perhaps.
Now, as you can see, Bo Nickel is used to taking people down with wrestling, but he got Donovan Beard down with a whopper of a punch. But not only did he do that, let me pull up another video for you guys because directly following that hit, I want you guys to see how he gets this win on Dana White Contender Series in under a minute. Now, this video takes place just after the video I just showed you guys. You're going to want to check this out, and this is why I say Bo Nickel is going to be an issue in the UFC.
Out here. Right into a triangle.
Reverses it. Triangle threat from Nickel.
He's also got the arm.
That's the tap! Inside a minute this time!
Bo Nickel is an issue. He gets his UFC contract in Dana White Contender Series last night. Guys are gonna want to keep an eye on this guy, especially if he gets that first fight in the UFC against Chimaev, which is a fight that I did not mention earlier, but this is a fight that actually could happen. We could actually see Bo Nickel take on Khamzat Chimaev. I don't really think that this is a bad fight for the UFC to make. And just today, the UFC and Dana White came out and said that they're having the people that are designing these fights, the matchmakers that are looking for fights for Chimaev are having a hard time. One, because they don't know where Chimaev is going to go. Like I said, they don't know if he's moving up to middleweight, if he's sticking with welterweight. Make this fight. Make this fight. You know, I said the Whitaker fight would be really good, but it's probably not going to happen due to Whitaker's ranking. Guys, UFC matchmakers, make this fight. That could be a main event. Maybe a pay-per-view co-main event, but that's a bash. That's a brawl. That is what these fans want to see. Trust me. UFC matchmakers, Bo Nickel, Chimaev, make it happen. Now, this coming Saturday, we have a card to break down. Now, typically, we go through every single preliminary fight, but for the sake of timing here, I got 3 preliminary fights that are notable to me. These are the only 3 that really catch my eye. These are the fights that, if you're watching the prelim, you do not want to miss these 3 fights. I am not going to miss any of them, but new guys, do not miss these 3. I'm going to start off here with the very, very first fight of the card. You got Randy Costa taking on Guido Canetti. Now, this is really not a relevant fight. This fight does happen in that stacked bantamweight division, but both these guys are not really close to touching the rankings yet. But regardless, with that being said, this has still got a chance to be an absolute banger of a fight. You got Randy Costa, who's sitting at a 67% knockout rate. So the odds of you seeing a knockout by Costa in this fight are high. Little hint to the bettors out there. But he's fighting a guy in Guido Canetti who's got 7 finishes inside the distance in his 9 career wins. So 7 out of his 9 career wins have come inside the distance. Guys, this could be an absolute banger. It's the very first fight of the card. I believe it starts at 4 p.m. It's on ESPN Plus. Do not miss it. Even if you just want to watch this one, this could be an absolute banger just for 15 minutes of your time. And I believe right now they have Randy Costa sitting at like a moderate favorite. Let me bring up the odds right here. They got Costa sitting at a negative or a minus 285. Sorry. Yeah, I'm not going against the odds this one. If I'm a betting man, I'm going to take Costa here, and I'm probably going to parlay Costa with a knockout due to his 67% knockout rate. Now, moving on along here, we skip a couple fights. So between the Costa Canetti fight, we got fight number 4 on the card here. Another notable one. You got Brandon Allen taking on Krzysztof Jotko, and this is taking place in that middleweight division. Again, guys, this is another potential fireworks fight. Now you got Allen, who Brandon Allen is a very, very efficient fighter. I am definitely a little biased for him. I am a Brendan Allen fan. But we're talking about a Brendan Allen who lands over 4 significant strikes a minute. He averages over a takedown a fight. This guy is sufficient and efficient. Standing up, on the ground. He's got it everywhere. But do not discredit Yako. He's also a very efficient fighter, landing about 3 significant strikes per minute and also over 1 takedown a fight. Guys, wherever this fight goes, this fight could be standing up. This fight could be on the ground. It's going to be fireworks. This is fight number 4. Come back, watch the first fight, go grab a beer, hang out by the fire, whatever you guys do. Come back for this 4th fight. You got a chance to see a fight of the night. And just to add a little bit of spice here, the winner of this fight has that potential, not guaranteed, but they have a potential of becoming ranked. So these guys are going to go out. They're going to give it their all. These guys want to get ranked, right? These guys want to be the champs. But yeah, like I said, I'm biased towards Allen here. I think he's young. He's younger. He's more agile. He's tougher. I think he's going to be able to control this fight. I think Brendan Allen wins here. Seal the deal. And fight number 7 here. Another couple fights before or between the Brendan Allen and Yatko fight. We got fight number 7 here. Got a fight between 2 UFC seasoned veterans. Alexei Oleinik taking on Ilir Latifi, sorry. And this is happening in the heavyweight division, guys. These guys are seasoned veterans. 39 combined UFC fights between the two of them. And if you guys like grappling, if you guys like the ground game, this could easily become a very good ground game, especially Alexei Oleinik. He's older. I think he's 45 years old now. His chin's getting a little weaker. Most likely going to look to take it to the ground. But Latifi is very, very good on the ground as well. Which leads me to this question here is, who do I think can maintain the control? Who do I think can be more effective on the ground in this fight? Is it the older, more experienced Alexei Oleinik, or is it just the little pit bull, the little beast in Ilir Latifi? If I had to take a guess, if I had to put my money on one guy, I think it's Latifi. I think it's going to be the younger guy. I think he's going to be able to wear down Oleinik on the ground. And probably, it doesn't really have to do much. He could probably come away with a decision win here. Just control the ground. I think that's what you're going to see Latifi do. If not, Latifi could easily knock him out. I don't think Oleinik's going to really let that happen. I think he's going to, shoot for those takedowns as much as possible. So I'm taking Latifi here by decision. So that is it. That is my 3 notable preliminary fights for this Saturday. Now to get into the main card, got some interesting fights here. Not a lot of very relevant fights. It is a UFC fight night, but some potential bangers and some potential snoozers. But we're going to start positive. We're going to start with a potential banger, the very first fight on the main card. Mike Davis taking on Vyacheslav Barshev. This is taking place in the lightweight division. Guys, this could be a potential banger. Mike Davis has a 73% finish rate. Dude does not know how to not put on a show. Dude is an absolute warrior. 7 of his 9 professional wins coming by knockout. And he's looking to come off strong, looking to come out strong after a very, very long layoff. Mike Davis has not fought since January of 2021. So we're going on over a year and a half. Taking on a guy in Vyacheslav Borshev, who's taking this fight on short notice. But Borshev is also an absolute beast and a guy that knows how to put on a show for the UFC. Barshev's got 5 out of his 6 wins coming via KO. So the odds of you seeing a knockout in this Davis-Borshev fight are very, very high. Now, Barshev's name has been mentioned a lot in 2022, and that's because he has a knockout of the year contender. And he is a very rare knockout of the year contender, to say the least. It's a body shot knockout, which you just don't really see that often. The last one I could think of was Brandon Moreno, the liver kick to Kai Kara France a couple weeks ago. That was a body shot knockout. And you guys, you just don't see it that often. Let me pull up a video for here. This is a knockout of the year contender for 2022. Where are we at here? Boom. Guys, check this out.
Finally rounding out the skill sets, but Bush is still coming on strong. The question is, who's
Body shot. Barshev has him down and out. Wow. Vyacheslav Barshev.
still down?
Huge victory in the first finish of 2022 is a big one.
Look at the celebration. Dude knows how to put on a show. Gets the body shot, takes him down, ground and pound, night. Now, like I said, Barshev is taking this fight on short notice, and I am a sucker for guys fighting people on short notice. I'm taking Mike Davis in this one. I'm taking Mike Davis by knockout. I'm thinking maybe the second round. Usually, these guys that take these fights on short notice don't really have that gas in the tank because they don't get their full 5 weeks camp. Mike Davis, knockout, round 2. Let's lock it in there. Now, to go from a potential banger to the second fight in the main card, which for me, in my eyes, is a potential snoozer, you got John Castaneda versus Daniel Santos. This is going to be a catchweight bout at 140. Again, a catchweight bout is not within a specific weight class, but it's a specific weight. So this one's catchweight at 140 pounds. Guys, this could be a potential snoozer. You guys can, like I said, go grab a beer for this one. Both these guys have extremely low finish rates, around and under 50%. And to be honest, I think Daniel Santos is way outmatched here with skill, with experience. I got Castaneda by decision. Like I said, this could be a potential snoozer. Maybe I'm wrong, but definitely a possibility for a snoozer. I think it does go to decision. I got Castaneda by decision. I'm not really going to spend too much time on this fight because it's not really relevant, and it's pretty much a snooze fest. And another snoozer possibility, moving on here to fight number 3 of the main card. And it's not due to the same reasons as the last time. You got Sadiq Yusuff taking on Don Shanis. This is taking place in that featherweight division. Now, this is a makeup fight for Sadiq Yusuff. He was supposed to fight 2 weeks ago against Giga Chikadze, but Chikadze pulled out. They couldn't find Yusuff a new opponent. So they pushed him back 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and they got him a new fighter in Don Shanis. I think Don Shanis is a sitting duck in this fight. Um, this is Shanis' first fight in the UFC. It's coming on short notice. Now, Shanis is a knockout artist. That is the only upside I see to Shanis. He's got 8 knockouts in his 12 professional wins. He dominated the Cage Titans promotion. But as we see time and time again, the UFC is a different kind of animal. It's a different beast. We see guys a couple shows ago. I mentioned Michael Figlak, how I was super excited. He dominated Cage Warriors. I thought he was going to come into the UFC, come in with a bang. He was like he was a pretty heavy favorite. He didn't get the win. Didn't really look that impressive. And I think that's what's going to happen to Don Shanis here. Is there a potential that Don Shanis can surprise us in this fight? He's got to land a lucky hit. That's the only way Don Shanis wins this fight. He has to land one lucky hit, which is very possible. I don't think it's going to happen. I got Sadiq Youssef here. Knockout, it's tough to say. I'm probably going to take this one Youssef by decision. Yeah, I think Shanis has a good chin, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to say Sadiq Youssef by decision, and a unanimous decision. I think he wins all 3 rounds. Like I said, potential snoozer because one fighter's just dominant. One fighter's making his UFC debut. That is about the towel of the tape for that one. Coming off of 2 lows, we had 2 sleepers. I'm sorry, 2 snoozers, not sleepers. Different thing. Moving on to another potential banger, right? Another upside here. Another sit down and watch the TV instead of going and grabbing yourself a beer. We got Raoni Barcelos taking on Trevin Jones, taking place in the bantamweight division. Raoni Barcelos, 50% of this man's wins come by knockout. Trevin Jones, over 50% of this man's wins come inside the distance. He's a knockout artist. He's good on the ground. This fight is I'll put money on it. I'm gonna guarantee this fight ends in a finish. I'm taking Raoni Barcelos via knockout. Barcelos is a guy that's looking to be ranked soon. I don't know if he gets ranked with a win over Trevin Jones, but it's definitely a possibility. I think that's going to excel. I think that's where Raoni Barcelos is going to excel in his game plan. I think he's looking to become ranked. He's going to come out with an absolute fire. This fight's, like I said, this fight's ending in a finish. Do not miss this fight, guys. This is the 4th fight of the main card, which leads me into the 5th fight of the main card. We have the young versus the old in this fight. We got Randy Brown taking on Francisco Trinaldo in the welterweight division. And the reason I say this is a young versus old fight, we got Randy Brown, who's sitting at 32. That's not super young, but it's relatively young-ish for the UFC. Then we got a guy in Francisco Trinaldo. Man, he is 44 years old, sitting in the welterweight division. Dude is an absolute warrior. At 44, he's sitting at 5-1 in his last 6 fights. Dude is an absolute warrior. But Francisco Trinaldo does not get it done here. He does not go 6-1 in his last 7. He goes 5-2 in his last 7. Because Randy Brown is going to win this fight. Randy Brown's coming in with an 8-inch reach advantage, a 6-inch height advantage, and Randy Brown can finish you in an absolute variety of ways. He's got 6 KOs under his belt. He's got 5 submissions under his belt. He's got an extreme body advantage here in age, in height, in reach. I want to root for Francisco Trinaldo, but Randy Brown's taking this fight. The younger guy's going to win. I got Randy Brown. It's also tough to say. Whew. I got Randy. You know what? Let's throw a curveball. I got Randy Brown by knockout. Yeah, I kind of like that. Let's go Randy Brown by knockout. I think Trinaldo's age plays a role in this. I think this does end in a finish either way, whether it's a Brown knockout or a Brown submission. We're going Randy Brown. Lock it in. And that is the co-main event, guys. That is not a fight to miss, especially since it's the co-main event. It's going to be leading into the main event, which is, and excuse me if I butcher this name, but you got Mackenzie Dern taking on Xiaonan Yan. Like, again, if I butcher that name, guys, I am so sorry. But to me, this main event got a women's main event. This is Mackenzie Dern's fight to lose. 100% her fight to lose. Now, there's Dern and Yan are sitting pretty similar. I think they're actually one off of each other. Let me see. So you got Dern sitting at the number 5 contender, and you got Yan sitting at the number 6. So they're right next to each other. To be honest, I really truly believe that Dern can dominate this fight, regardless of how close they are in the rankings. Um, you got Dern, who is an absolute submission artist. Absolute submission artist, Mackenzie Dern. 50% of her wins coming via submission. She does not have a knockout in the UFC, though. She is yet to knock anybody out in the UFC, but that's because her submission game, her ground game is so good. Now, flip the script to the other side of the octagon, and Yan, who is a knockout artist, right? 6 of her 15 wins come via knockout. And like I said, Jan's sitting at number 6 in the rankings. This fight would crack her into the top 5. This fight, if she wins, would not only crack her into the top 5, but she would become, a name mentioned in the title fight. Regardless of who wins this fight here, your name, whoever wins this fight's name is going to be mentioned in the title fight, potentially the next title fight. But this is taking place in the strawweight division. Like I said last episode, Carla Esparza taking on Weili Jen. That's your championship fight as of now. I think Weili dominates that fight. Winner of this fight potentially gets that one, whether it's Mackenzie Dern or Jan. I think Dern's going to get this win. I think Dern's ground game is just too good. She's going to win. She's going to take Jan down. She's going to submit her. Lock it in. Mackenzie Dern via submission. Now, that is our card breakdown, but I want to give you guys some I want to win you guys some money, hopefully. I didn't do too hot in the Sanhagen Yadong. I did go up money, I was positive, but I didn't do as good as I had hoped. So trust me, I'm looking to make some money off these bets too. So you guys are not in this alone. So I'm going to give you the best bet parlay risky to put on the UFC this Saturday. If you guys like risks, if you guys like those high odds, you can trail it. If not, hey, put some money on each of these individually. Maybe parlay it with something. A same game parlay, same fight parlay. But I'm going to give you those odds. I'm going to go with who I like the most in a parlay here. We talked about Guido Canetti and Randy Costa. I love Randy Costa here in this fight. We talked about Allen. We talked about Yako. Now, this is surprising here. Brendan Allen sitting at a plus 100 odds. Guys, I think this is super, super cheap for Allen. I think that's a steal for Brendan Allen. I definitely like him in this parlay. But guys, like I said, you can run with Allen solo and still make a decent amount of money since he's positive odds. Let's see who else we like here. We talked about Latifi and Oleinik. That is a tough fight. I do like Latifi there. I don't know if I like him enough to bet on him, though. So that's it for the prelims. Costa and Allen, just those two in the prelims. Moving on to the main card here. I love Mike Davis, right? Barshev's, coming off on short notice. Castaneda, I love him. Sadiq Youssef, the biggest favorite on the card. I love him. Rayoni Barcelos, love him. Randy Brown, love him. Mackenzie Dern, love her. Guys, that's an 8-pick parlay. Like I said, the longer the leg of the parlay, it is risky. But, guys, if you have $5 to throw on, That's a payout of 90, just over, actually just under $97. Why not? Right? Why not take $5, throw it in the DraftKings money, potentially throw some money on some single fights. But that is my best bets, my best parlay for this UFC fight night, Dern versus Jan. Now, since I am running this show solo, we unfortunately cannot do our very first October draft on this video. We're going to do that behind the scenes, but I would love to get you guys involved in this. Whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on Twitter, YouTube, drop 3 fighters down in the comments, how they win. I'll add you into our spreadsheet. Guys, see if you could take down me and Slav. Slav is the champion as of now. See if you could take down Slav. You never know. Like I said, throw in 3 fighters. Tell me how they win in the comments below. And that is going to do it for our show here at Fist First. As always, thank you guys for watching. It is very, very much appreciated. And guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow DSM Media. It's really going to help us out. And we know we love giving you guys the content you want to hear. And I hope we can continue to do that. And we will catch you next week on Monday night when we are going to review all the action that is set to happen on Saturday. Guys, do not miss the fights and check us out on Monday night.